What is the downside to not having children? You have to grab the remote yourself instead of telling your son to come to living room just to give you the remote right when he was about to clutch a 1v4 in Search and Destroy. Purely hypothetical. One less excuse to use if you don't want to go somewhere to something. Missing out on a relationship with an adult son or daughter. Of course, there is no guarantee of a good relationship happening. Not having an heir to give all your money. Children are people whom you meet and love and enjoy. If you don't have them, you never meet them. Like anything else that simply doesn't happen to you, it's not exactly a downside. What I mean is, if you never met someone to begin with, you can't possibly miss them. On the other hand, for those of us who have kids, who have met them and so loved them and enjoyed them, life would be deeply impoverished, unbearably so, without them. You have to find compatible organs on the open market. Less competitors for board game night. You have to hear people say, why don't you have kids, and guilt trip you thousands of times, and if in a heterosexual relationship the male gets asked, it's her, isn't it? Regularly. That's it for me. No one to take care of you in old age is ridiculous. Plenty of people have children who want to take care of them later in life. You shouldn't have children to be your slave later in life. Dying alone, rotting in a nursing home, but that happens to a lot of people anyway, so. Thank God, I live in a state where we have a death with dignity law. That way, I won't lose all of my worldly possessions paying for a retirement home. I can die on my own terms and either give most of my money to my future children or to my nephew, if I decide not to have any. Retirement homes are a scam designed to feed off of people's fear of death. I would much rather die on my own terms than live in a home for 20 years barely able to function, slowly draining away my family's inheritance so my kids will get nothing. Confusion as to what to do with your money. Too much free time after work and on weekends. No regrets here. You have to do the weed whacking yourself. I like mowing the lawn, but I hate weed whacking. Landscapers are too expensive, and offspring is the only culturally acceptable form of slavery. Not healing one bit of your inner child by loving and caring for your own child more than your parents loved and cared about you. I went most of my life not wanting kids at all. Knew I was selfish and wanted to maximize time to myself, my money, etc. Won't go into why I changed my mind, but it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. The love I feel for my kids is overwhelming, and it's made me a better person in every way imaginable. Being a dad has forced me to be the best version of myself. I've learned about vulnerability and resilience. On top of that, my kids are cool as hell. I enjoy being around them, and I'd obviously never gotten to experience that if I'd never had them. No disrespect to people who don't want kids. I totally get it. But for me, my life improved in so many unexpected ways when I had them. You will never know many joys. The joy of seeing your children become successful adults. Your child going out to dinner with you and them paying the bill. The child that brings you expensive items they picked out for you, and it isn't your B-Day or Xmas. The joy of them thanking for all you have done for them, and them trying to do anything they possibly can to make life easier for you. The joy of them coming to visit. The biggest joy of all I saved for last grandchildren. Yes, it is a huge job and cost to raise children. It's terribly inconvenient. It's horrible when they get sick. It's worth every second of hardship, and you have something that you wouldn't trade for all the money in the world. We wouldn't take anything offered for any one of our children. Unless you have children, you wouldn't understand. After taking care of my grandma for over a year, it dawned on me how important it is to have people take care of you when you're old. If watching my husband's grandmother and my grandmother is anything to go by, if you hit your 90s, like 99 of your friends are dead. If you have memory issues, you'll probably die and rot away alone, as no one is checking up on you if you don't get yourself into a retirement community-assisted living facility while your faculties are still in check. Also get scammed into giving away all your money. However, because his and my grandmother had kids, those kids are making sure she's taken care of at her very nice assisted living facility and visit her, handle her assets so she can't get scammed, and is essentially given an allowance if she wants to buy something at the shop, which is hardly necessarily, as the living facility provided all meals, invite her to family events too. She still has social outings. I'm 43 and childless. I do feel like I've missed out on something and want kids now more than I ever have. Probably going to have my first in about 18 months or so. Not experiencing the joys of parenthood.